Gregory in the Graveyard, written and illustrated by Shilakes. One haunted evening, a young little ghoul named Gregory awoke from his slumber, stretched his rotting limbs, and climbed from his shallow grave. He looked up at the round full moon as its dim light cast spooky shadows over the mausoleums and listened to the werewolves howling in the distance. "What a perfectly dreadful evening to go for a walk," Gregory exclaimed. "Perhaps I can scare up some new friends." Gregory stood up straight, dusted off the spiderwebs from his body, and began on his ghoulish way. Off he went, moaning and groaning, skipping between the tombstones while singing a scary tune. The bats in the graveyard danced in the moonlight as Gregory sang. "Brains, brains, cold and gray, goblins, please come out and play. Brains, brains, yummy and sweet, that is what I like to eat." Then all of a sudden, as he ghoulishly skipped, his foot hit a bone and Gregory tripped. He clumsily tumbled down to the ground, and when he looked up, do you know what he found? It was Fluffy, the ghost dog from the pet cemetery, digging up bones and getting into mischief. Fluffy had just dug up a juicy bone to chew on when Gregory came along and toppled over his midnight snack. But the ghastly pup didn't seem to mind whatsoever, because he knew that the only thing better than chewing on bones is chasing after them. He jumped up with excitement and let out a yelp. Maybe the young ghoul would be willing to play fetch. Gregory picked up the bone and waved it over his head. "Oh, so you want to play," he giggled as Fluffy wagged his waxen tail with glee. "Okay, but I'm warning you, I can throw pretty far." Gregory drew his arm back to toss the bone away when he was abruptly startled by an angry, booming voice. "Put that down!" cried the angry voice from behind a twisted oak tree. Gregory turned quickly to find a shadowy figure emerge from the darkness, furiously hopping up and down on one foot and coming towards them. As the figure drew closer, Gregory could see that the voice belonged to none other than Mr. Bones, who was clumsily wobbling on one foot trying to regain his balance, an act that was made especially difficult due to the fact that his other leg was missing clean up to the knee. The cranky skeleton quickly snatched his missing leg from Gregory's grip and scolded him. "Don't you know it's not polite to toss around other people's body parts? I've been looking all over the graveyard for that." "I'm so sorry, Mr. Bones," said Gregory. "I didn't know it belonged to you. I was just trying to make new friends." "Well, you'll never make friends by taking things that don't belong to you," Mr. Bones grumbled as he turned and hobbled back to his musty and mildewy grave. Gregory was very sad. He knew that Mr. Bones was right. Taking other people's things isn't very nice, and he never wanted to make anyone upset. To make matters worse, Fluffy had scurried off with his tail between his legs during the whole hullabaloo, leaving Gregory all alone once again. The gloomy little ghoul sulked back to his grave and started to cry. Just then, Gregory heard a cackling overhead. Hagatha von Bristlebottom had been flying home from a witch's seance when she witnessed the commotion between Gregory and the grumpy old Mr. Bones. She decided to swoop down on her broom to see if she could offer some help. "Why so glum, little one?" Hagatha asked. "I just wanted to make a new friend," said Gregory. "Now Mr. Bones is angry with me and Fluffy ran away." "Oh, that's all," shrieked the wacky witch. "Old Hagatha can conjure you up a new friend in no time. You'll see." And with that, she began to chant, casting a spell she had been saving for just such an occasion. The ground began to tremble and quake. A bright flash of lightning split through the night sky as the earth quickly shifted beneath Gregory's feet. Then, quite suddenly, a spirited young she-ghoul popped her head up from the cemetery plot and squealed with glee. "I'm alive! I'm alive!" She immediately spotted Gregory, who was still miserably moping about, and lunged forward to introduce herself. "My name is Gabby," she declared loudly. "What's your name?" "I'm Gregory," said the little ghoul timidly. "I live here in this graveyard." Gabby looked around the eerie cemetery and felt a frightful chill. She noticed countless creepy spiders who were meticulously weaving their webs between the crooked limbs of rotting trees. She could hear the woeful wailing of ghosts as they returned from their midnight haunts. Everything around them was so dark and terrifying. Gabby turned towards Gregory and whispered, "This place is kind of spooky." "I love it!" she squealed with delight as Gregory let out a sigh of relief. "Isn't it a perfectly dreadful evening to go for a walk?" Gabby shouted. "Perhaps you and I can scare up some new friends together." "I think I would like that very much," smiled Gregory. Off they went, moaning and groaning, skipping between the tombstones as they both sang a scary tune. Brains, brains, cold and gray, goblins, please come out and play. Brains, brains, yummy and sweet, that is what we like to eat. The end.